So good morning, good afternoon to everyone joining. Thanks so much for jumping on today. We're really excited to get started. So welcome to today's call. Obviously, as you guys know, we're going to be covering Gemini Enterprise. We're really excited to introduce this new tool to you guys, to talk to you a little bit about how 66 Degrees can help you guys with this and just get you all up to speed. So to start, today's webinar is going to be hosted by myself. I've got some, team members from Google as well who will be joining in. But to give a quick introduction here, my name is Kelly. I am a customer productivity manager here at 66 Degrees. I've been at 66 Degrees for almost 5 years now. And really what I do here at 66 Degrees is a lot of change management. I help all of our customers adopt Google Workspace and Gemini and now Gemini Enterprise as well. So really excited to be here and to talk to you guys this morning. So quick overview, what we're going to go through today and what you're going to see on the call. We're going to do a quick introduction to 66 Degrees. I think a lot of you guys are 66 Degrees customers. If not, though, we want to just give you a quick overview. I'm going to do a quick sneak peek of our services around Gemini Enterprise. Won't spend too much time on that at the beginning. Obviously just want to give you guys the lowdown of what Gemini Enterprise is before we start talking about how to implement it. But I want to give you a sneak peek to start off. Then I will be handing it over to my Google colleagues who will be reviewing Gemini Enterprise. They'll be introducing it to you, explaining what it is, which is really exciting. I'll then be handing it over to my colleague, Evan, who will be giving you a live demo, which is really exciting. Then we'll talk a little bit about 66 Degrees services in more detail, how to get started with Gemini Enterprise. Look, I'm already using abbreviations here with Gemini Enterprise. And then we'll do Q&A at the end. If you guys are joining, you guys are probably muted. So if you do have questions as the call goes along, please go ahead and submit Q&A. If you're unfamiliar about the Q&A functionality, in the bottom right-hand corner of your Google Meet screen, you'll see like a little waffle symbol, and that's where you can access Q&A. So we'll try to get to those at the end of today's call. Otherwise, we'll do some follow-ups with those questions if we don't have time today. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got a jam-packed schedule here, so want to get ahead of things. All right, so really quickly, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about who 66 Degrees is. Like I said, I know a lot of you guys are customers already, but you may just be working with 66 Degrees in a singular capacity, right? Maybe you work with my team on Google Workspace, or you work just with our Google Cloud team. So I just kind of want to give you an overview of our kind of slew of services and how we approach that with your team. So we're a global team or a global technology partner. Obviously, today we're going to be focusing on how we can help you guys with AI solutions, but we also focus on productivity, on data, and on cloud solutions just to accelerate your businesses, right? So on this slide here, I've got some of our our unique approach to how we kind of launch this. I won't go through each and every one of these, but I just wanted to highlight our amazing team that we have here at 66 Degrees, right? So we've got a global footprint. We've got cloud and app dev experts. We've got data analytics experts, AI experts, productivity experts. You name it, we've got it. Don't quote me on that, but we've got a lot of experts here at 66 Degrees. So what we like to do with our customers, right, is really partner with you guys, take our technical expertise alongside of you, right? So we're always, looking to partner with our customers to make sure we're solutioning things that make sense for your business, right? So that's going to apply today as we're talking about Gemini Enterprise, but across all of our different solutions as well, right? So we're super flexible with you guys, and I want to highlight those end-to-end capabilities that we have, right? So if you're joining us, like I said, from the productivity side of the house, maybe you've not heard about our Google Cloud services or vice versa, we're here to support you, in the entirety of that Google Cloud journey. So that's what we do. I'm going to move to this next slide about who we are. I won't drain the slide or talk a ton about our core values. I know you guys are here for Gemini Enterprise, but I always like to highlight this, right? Because it's important to know not just what we do, but who we are, right? When you're working with a partner, you want to know who they are and what their values are. And so I like to put this front and center when we're talking about 66 Degrees as well. So that's a little bit about us and who we are. Does that relate to Gemini Enterprise? Let's talk a little bit about that, right? So today we're talking about enterprise AI transformation. That's what we're here for. Why 66 degrees in a conversation? Well, we're Google's preferred partner for these enterprise AI transformation services. This is, maybe going to be a little bit new to you guys, but it's not so new to us, right? So as long as this has been kind of out in the marketplace, we have been working with the Google team to help get customers up to speed, right? So, you'll see this slide, bunch of numbers on here about our expertise, about our certifications, right? We're working super hard to get up to date so that we can make sure we can pull your businesses forward and keep you guys up to date, right? That's what we're here for. So, what do those services look like? I'm going to take a brief second here to just go over a little bit of a breakdown. Like I said, won't spend too much time here. But if you, after this call, if we're thinking, okay, this is really interesting, Gemini Enterprise, I really want to take advantage of this, but we don't even really know where to start. I mean, that's what we're here to partner with you guys for, right? So kind of the first iteration with that looks like for a lot of our customers is a pilot with our customers, right? So we really are partnering with you to say, okay, what is a problem that we can solve in your business? Let's take a look at some use cases that make sense. Pilot that with a group of users, get you set up for success on the platform to make sure we can really prove out the value of this platform, right? So that's typically the first step for a lot of our customers. And then the second step would be enablement, right? So if we're really, really excited about Gemini Enterprise, we know for sure we want to, scale this across the entire organization. We've got services for that too, right? So like I said, that's the services on a high level. I will cover those in detail at the end. But that's a little bit of what we can offer you guys. So I know you guys are eager to get a little bit more about Gemini Enterprise. You're like, I'm sick of hearing about 66 degrees. So without further ado, I will pass it over to my Google team, who's going to introduce Gemini Enterprise to you and talk a little bit about what that is. So Paz, I will go ahead and pass it to you.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Paz Mosqueda, and I'm a GWS account manager here at Google. Kelly, can you help me with the next slide? Or I can. Okay, amazing. So we all have seen how AI has fundamentally changed and continues to reshape our personal lives, from the way we search for information to how we communicate and create. It has made us feel almost limitless in our personal capacity. At this point, AI is not longer a futuristic concept we are waiting for. It is a deeply embedded part of our daily experience. Give me an emoji or something if you agree with that statement. We're using AI in our daily basis, right? Amazing. Yeah, everyone's agree on that. So as AI becomes an integral part of our daily life, Google is bringing the same power directly to your workplace. And the next slide, Kelly, can you help me with that? This is not just a question. It is an invitation to reimagine what your business could truly become. For years, the industry focused on incremental gains, trying to make employees slightly faster at repetitive tasks. But at this point, we are moving past that. What if every person in your organization could harness the full power of AI to work not just faster, but smarter? Imagine a workforce that is truly multidimensional. Your team, the main goal of including AI is just your team is free from the friction of busy work and empowered to focus on high-value strategic innovation. This is not about just completing tasks anymore. It is about unlocking the collective intelligence of your entire organization. This is the path to more creativity, more impact, and more possibilities. So to get there, Google is bringing the full AI power to the business through Gemini. On the next slide, I want to pass here and do, and this is an important clarification for everyone on the call, because as a GWS account manager, this is the first question that I hear from my customers today in calls. Can you please explain me what is the actual difference between Gemini for Workspace and Gemini Enterprise? Well, in 2026, the conversation has shifted from simple AI assistant to AI orchestration. So Gemini for Workspace, Think about this as the ultimate personal assistant. It is embedded directly into your flow of work, and you find it in every single application that is part of Workspace, helping your team write better emails, analyze spreadsheets, summarize meetings, and more. It makes the individual faster. Also, under this ecosystem, we provide other tools powered by AI that enhance different teams' productivity. Gemini Enterprise, on the other hand, is where we unlock agentic AI. This is the platform that allows your AI tools to talk to one another. This is the backbone that connects your company's data. It doesn't just suggest text, it executes complex cross-platform workflows, whether it can be Salesforce, Jira, or ServiceNow. Gemini Enterprise acts as an orchestrator that integrates your data and automates processes from end to end. So that's the main difference between these two products. So to dive deep into what Gemini Enterprise is and how it transforms these complex workflows, I'm going to pass it to my teammate, customer engineer here at Google, William.
Thank you for the introduction, Paz. Good morning, good afternoon, and maybe good evening for everyone who's maybe across the world. Really appreciate your time. My name is William. I'm a workplace transformation customer engineer, meaning that I cover both Google Workspace as well as Gemini Enterprise. And my goal over the next few minutes is twofold. First, go one step deeper and discuss what is Gemini Enterprise really, and also why Gemini Enterprise. But before I go into what this platform is, as you see on this page here, I want to first set up a mindset of why we have different tools, different solutions, all with the name Gemini. So typically when we talk about AI, we talk about the different stacks. But really what I will focus on is the model and the application layer, not that stack. And really, it's about bringing our model, our state-of-the-art model, Gemini, to different interfaces, different applications, different audiences. So you can see with the name in Gemini Enterprise, the goal is to bring the Gemini offering to enterprises and make it something that enterprises can actually utilize to kind of make life a little easier for their users, as well as generate high productivity. But really, our goal with Gemini Enterprise is to, before I get deeper into that, let me start with a one-sentence definition. What is Gemini Enterprise? Gemini Enterprise is an agentic platform that allows organizations to consolidate their data and perform action. And typically, we can break this into 5 or 6 parts, depending on how you look at it. So first, on page here, you see the brains. So this is what I mentioned, the advanced Gemini model, our latest 3.1 Pro, for example. Bring that Gemini model to your data, to your workflow. And the workbench, it's a fancy way of saying basically the interface that's focused on ease of use, simplicity, as well as the ability for your users who may not be tech savvy to create agents with no code. The task force, you just kind of dive deeper into that agentic portion, the ability to create no code, low code, even full code agent. And all of that is able to provide context, right? So the context are data sources that you've already invested in, not only money, but also data and time. Bring those data sources to Gemini Enterprise, to your agents, to Gemini, allow you to consolidate data, like I mentioned, as well as take action using those agents. And all of that's backed up by governance and security that you expect from Google, from Enterprise solution. And because it is connected to a wider Google Cloud platform, that means you have a logging capability that's expected, the screening capability for both input, output via model armor, and much more. And the last item would be, depending on, if it's something you want to utilize, you do have a partner ecosystem, not only on the implementation side with 66degrees, for example, but also agents through the agent marketplace. So depending on how you want to look at this, there's a lot of ways to utilize partner. Next, I understand that I mentioned full code, so some of you may be a little scared, like, okay, do I have the right code for this? Well, that only if you want to. And if you do want to, as part of the Gemini Enterprise package, it does also come with Code Assist Standard. That means you get higher quota for Gemini CLI, or Gemini Code Assist, and much more. And if you just really want to bring Gemini into your coding experience, you do have the ability to do so. And which tool to use depends on the interface you want to utilize. But now, I've been talking about what is Gemini Enterprise, and hopefully you have a better understanding of what that is before we pass it to Evan. Right? So, but why Gemini Enterprise really? Right. Now that we understand it's an agentic platform, consolidates data, and allows you to take action. Well, why is that important? As you, I really just try to make it simple. Consolidate data, take action. Why is that important? And there's been a lot of studies from McKinsey, from Gartner, about how your average employee spends about 1 to 3 hours per day looking for information. And if you stretch that across a week, across a month, you can imagine how much time is, I won't say wasted, but spent illy to look for information as opposed to producing content, doing some productive. And a lot of companies actually utilize a good amount of data sources. Right? As you see here, the average company, according to the study here, it interacts with up to 254. And honestly, the number here is dramatically higher now that we have so many different data sources. Right? That means you have up to 254 and much more ways to silo your data. So you can imagine how much time is spent looking through even let's say even 10. We don't even need to look to 254. Even 10 data sources will take you a good amount of time. Okay. So I just want to kind of give you like a brief overview, and hopefully you can extrapolate from how that can be really useful to be able to bring in data together from up to 250 data sources and also take action. Last thing, I don't want to take too much time here. I don't want to read the slide to you, but essentially, you can imagine that there are problem statements where you need to, for example, a business use case, you have to write an email where you have to bring in data from different teams, from different product pages, and manually looking through all 10, 20, or however many data sources involved, how much time that will take. And so not only do you have to find the resources first, you have to read through it, you have to understand it, you have to synthesize it, you have to aggregate it, and then you have to bring it back into a form that's digestible for anyone else. With Gemini Enterprise, you can actually dramatically, streamline that process, right? You can, first of all, use Gemini Enterprise to help you bring data in, allow you to kind of summarize the key ideas, and then from that point on, you can decide whether you want to use Gemini Enterprise to help you write that email. Right? So you don't have to fully utilize Gemini Enterprise for the full, final form, but if you want, it is available. But that was just a quick summary. And now that I'm done with my part, let's pass it to Evan for the fun live demo.
Hi, good afternoon. Let me just share my screen and we'll jump right into it. Boom, boom. Let me know if you can see this.
Before you get started, I see somebody has raised their hand. So if you do have a question, feel free to go ahead and submit it via Q&A. In the bottom right-hand corner in that little waffle, there's a Q&A section, and you can go ahead and submit your question there, and we'll try to get to it at the end.
All right, great. Can everyone see my screen? Everyone okay? All right, sweet. So we're looking at Gemini Enterprise, the platform. I have been using this platform for about 2 years since it came out quite a while ago. So I really view this as a hub for my Monday mornings, my Friday afternoons. I really view it as a kind of a flight deck of everything that I'm doing in the organization to support the people I'm working with, my colleagues, to get information from people. It is syncing, as you can see. It looks very similar to Gemini Pro. There's some key differences. I have immediate access in real time to a large variety of enterprise data sources. So everything that I ask in Gemini Enterprise, using the models available to me, are grounded in enterprise data, as well as Google search. So you can see calendar, your email, Google Drive, Notebook LM, Jira tickets, Slack messages, Salesforce, anything and everything that I need to do my job. I'm going to be able to ask very complex queries here. So some very nice features that I love about Gemini Enterprise are the ability to focus on specific types of searching, whether I'm searching Google or company data. Specific sources, I can turn them all off, or I can select individual sources. I can select the models as well. I've got 3.1 Pro, I've got 3 Flash. So I can also switch to automatic and have the model choose the right model for me. I've got some nice prompt chips at the bottom on things that I'm doing every day. Really a very nice tool for just getting my week started and understanding what's going on my calendar, on my emails, searching for that email I know I received 2 weeks ago. But it's more than just a search engine. It's an intelligent response. It's an intelligent agent that's able to correlate and collate 12, 15, 20 sources and give me accurate answers in a very curated fashion. So we have access to Made by Google agents on the left side. I'll go into some details on those in a second. The ability to create and add agents from a lot of different sources, whether they're agent-to-agent protocols, ADK, Agent Finder, anything and everything you can add here. I'll also show you in a second how to create your own agents with a no-code interface called Agent Designer. All of my chats are here. I'm able to organize my chats. I'm able to delete things as well, which is different from Gemini Pro. I can share these chats to other people. I can add them as starred chats. If I'm using them every day, I'm going to be able to see those and see them in my starred chat. So here, I'll delete this one. Don't need that one anymore. I can also see my starred chats here. Those chats that I'm relying on using every day are easily available. I also have libraries. When I'm using Nano Banana or I'm using Veo, I'm able to see those videos. So you can see I've been working on architecture. I've been working on a variety of things to support different projects that I'm working on. Videos, photos are available for reuse in the library. Really powerful platform. I'm able to get a lot done. It's really changed my work life and the way I do things. A typical thing that you might do is, let's say I'm a new hire in an organization. I need to find out a common question. How do I get access to something? So what I'm able to do is ask that question, and it's going to give a very curated response based upon the enterprise data that I have available to me. So this is really powerful because it's curated, it's validated, and the accuracy is confirmed in the agentic workflow. I'm actually able to also confirm the sources that the responses were based upon. That's very interesting as well. The ability to interact with the data, copy it, and do other things. So in this case, I've asked it, who do I talk to about getting access to a certain IT platform? And it knows exactly where to go in the organizational documentation and provides a very accurate response. Really simple, but also quite powerful. It's able to go into the source of truth in my organization and give us the information that we need immediately, instead of talking to several people and trying to figure out who I need to talk to about a certain platform. Another typical use case is security. It does come with model armor and sensitive data protection, so that if there is sensitive data, HIPAA data, other information that we don't want exposed, we mask that out. We keep it from being exposed. If we do accidentally find it, the agents are out there indexing, looking for things that could be a credit card number or a social security number or an authorization token. And it's going to mask that and not allow it to be used in the platform. So your medical information, HIPAA regulations, etc., are respected in the repository. Another really interesting way that I use Gemini Enterprise every day is what's going on, what's my calendar look like, but not just searching for calendar events and emails, but correlating that information with other information from Salesforce, from Slack messages, from emails, to kind of give me a very good idea of when my calls are taking place, who I'm speaking to in the call, and more importantly, maybe a high level or a detailed background on the customer I'm using. Really useful way to work with the platform is just understanding what you need to do that day. And this is how I start my week. I'm asking the model, what's going on? How do I prepare for this? It makes me look good, honestly. It's a great platform for improving my efficiency in the workplace. The agents that come with Gemini Enterprise, there's Made by Google agents, deep research, idea generation, Notebook LM. I use these. I've learned to use these in a certain workflow over time. These are very powerful tools. They take about a few minutes to run, but they do generate a very highly curated set of research. And I typically use these in a kind of certain way. Let's take a look at Notebook first. Notebook LM is, I'm a visual learner, so when I'm reading a very complex technical document or a brief, I'm going to place it into Notebook LM so that I can understand visually what that document looks like. I'm able to actually drill down into the document and see it in terms of topics. So I learn visually, so this helps me understand what's in the document and how to better understand it more quickly. I can also quickly convert it into audio format. That gives us a podcast type environment. So a really excellent way to interact with documents that are complex and learn them much more quickly. So I'm able to take a 100-page document on a technical subject and interact with it and understand it in a much more effective way. I can share it with people. I can view analytics on the document. I can output the document in many languages if needed to support global audiences. Really an effective way to start my initial look into a subject. Another typical workflow that I'm using is the idea generation agent. Let's say I had an idea for a platform or an application. In this case, I wanted to create and develop a new platform called AI Studio or Studio AI for creative people. Now we already have AI Studio, so I kind of stole the idea from Google, but I wanted to do an idea. It says, give me an idea, and it actually generates a very clever, ranked by the ELO algorithm I used for chess, to generate very interesting information about what it is I'm trying to do. So it's going to give me a bunch of ideas. I'm then going to take those ideas and plug them into deep research, which is another made by Google agent that allows me to take that idea and ascertain the feasibility of it. So I'm going to ask it, I need to do research on this idea. I've just pasted the idea into deep research. It's going to give me a very detailed understanding of the feasibility of that idea. So it generates a very comprehensive response with sources that are cited and gives me a very clear view of the feasibility of the idea. I will then take that research that's been done and plug it into Gemini, into a model, so that I can actually create a project plan. So it's going to actually look at that feasibility at the very highly curated research that's been done on the idea. It's going to generate a detailed project plan for me. It's going to detail a level of effort, and it's going to email to my manager, Brian, on what I found out about this idea on this project I need to accomplish. I can then send that email directly from Gemini Enterprise or update a calendar event with Brian to discuss the idea through an event. I can then generate a project file for Gemini CLI and Conductor so I can start prototyping. So here I can click, give me an MD file for that idea, and then plug that MD file directly into Gemini CLI. I like anti-gravity, of course. So that's a very powerful tool, is using anti-gravity as well for that. So I'll take that MD file, plug it into Gemini CLI or anti-gravity, and boom, I have a prototype ready in about 20 minutes using Conductor to provide governance along the way. Great use case for these made by Google agents. You can also add your own agents. I've got one for finance compliance that I'm using, construction operations agent, and other agents. Let me take a look at a few of these. This is a construction operations agent, and what it does, it's looking for projects in my Asana folder. It's comparing that information to information I have in Salesforce, in Slack, in Google, emails, and it provides a very clear view. It's not really just reading the files. It's actually reasoning across those files and all of that information for me. So it gives me a current status on the project. It understands in a very intelligent way what's taking place in the project, the pivots that might be necessary. In this case, I need to pivot to a new source for construction material. It generates a communication plan that I can use to send to my project manager. And it does confirm that the viable source was not appropriate because it was not sustainably sourced per the customer's instructions, and it gives us an adjustment strategy as well as a communication. And then allows me to review that email and then send it to the project manager on my behalf directly from Gemini Enterprise. Really powerful way to build agents is the agent designer. For example, let's take a look at another agent, finance compliance. I can open that agent, and you can see how easy it is to develop agents using no code or low code. I can define a persona, a goal for the agent, the output format that I need that in. I restrict that agent to certain types of data, and I tell it what model to use. In this case, I want it to be fast because the data is there. Don't need to, I'm not writing code. I'm just correlating data and telling it to give me a specific format for that data. As you can see, developing agents using the low code or no code agent designer is a piece of cake, especially when you're formatting this in persona, goals, and output format. So this particular agent is looking across 4 or 5 different sources to look at financial regulations. So I'm able to search a certain project, summarize the new HUD rent cap requirements, and then look at the specific percentage limit and what projects it might apply to. So it's able to intelligently provide a very highly curated response based upon that request, giving me the specific limits in applicability. It looks at the regulatory world over Google search and gives us a compliance notes on the current regulatory environment. Then I'm following up with another question, looking at my financial statements, compare the rental income increase for this entity across the new HUD 2026 caps, and it gives me a very accurate and intelligent response and allows me to take that information and actually use it in a draft to the project partner, summarizing the findings that I just made in just a matter of minutes. Very powerful way to work with finance or really any use case in any vertical. It generates a draft as well that I can send and allows me to preview that draft right inside Gemini Enterprise. And it does a very good job of formatting that and allowing me to validate it before I send it out to someone else. As you can see, these type of agents that I've shown you were done using No Code Agent Designer. Constraints, restricting it to certain data sets, providing very strict instructions that additionally we can schedule that agent as well. We can have it launch and automatically do something whenever we need to do it. Speaking of agents, another common use case is IT governance of those agents. How are they working? What are they doing? The platform has the ability to interact with agents through telemetry APIs and observability APIs to get very specific information about what the agents are doing, what security protocols are they using, what is their percentage usability. In this case, I've asked it to look at an SAP, a collection of agents running on SAP, to give me a clear view of what the agents are up to and how efficient they are. So I'm actually able to generate visualizations and charts directly inside the prompt. That's it for the demo. I hope you learned a little bit more about Gemini Enterprise, and looking forward to hearing from many of you if you have any questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Evan. We definitely have some questions. They're stacking up in our Q&A. I love to see it. I can see the wheels turning in some of your heads, so that's great. Before we get to questions, I do just want to talk a little bit how to get started on Gemini Enterprise so we're all clear. I am going to answer some of the questions when I'm talking about this as well, so that you guys can get an understanding. So just to be really clear, right? Gemini Enterprise is a separate tool from Gemini for Workspace, right? Like Paz kind of went over in her part of the presentation, they're so deeply integrated, but it is like a whole separate platform. So I think there was a question, like if you go to gemini.google.com, is that the same experience? No, that is a completely different experience, right? So those are two different things as of right now. Hopefully Evan's demo gave a little bit more, illuminated a little bit more how they're different, but we can talk a little bit more about that as well. So Gemini Enterprise is a separate licensed product, while you get like gemini.google.com and your Gemini for Workspace tools included with your workspace licensing. This is going to be a separate license, right? So that's why when we talk about, okay, how do we even get started with this? We want to look at maybe some services, because there, even in the chat, there is some confusion. Is this right for my organization? Do I need to use this instead of Gemini, right? That's what we're here to help you figure out is, do we need Gemini Enterprise, or is this something that can be, solved with Workspace Studio? I think somebody mentioned that. Somebody is on top of their new products here. But just to give you guys a little bit of a lowdown before we get more into the Q&A. So if we are interested and we are thinking, okay, I think I have a use case. I saw maybe Evan's, agents that he presented, and I'm thinking I have something similar, but I'm not sure, right? That's what this pilot program is for. It's really to help solution with you guys to figure out, hey, does this use case make sense for our team? Can we kind of prove that out? And if we prove that out, maybe does it make sense for the rest of our organization, right? So like I said, it's a per user, per license product that we're going to help you kind of solution out. So you get, integrated strategy with us that includes the setup, that includes looking at those connectors, and then onboarding, and then being able to actually use the tool, right? So that's how we kind of hold your hand to get started on the platform. And then if we were to go beyond that, that's where we have those enablement services that we're able to partner with you guys with. So I don't know if anybody on the call here is part of our Gemini for Workspace enablement services, right? We do offer those as well. So if we're just looking for, hey, we're still learning, Gemini for Workspace, we can help you there too. But if we get to the point with Gemini Enterprise that we're like, this is awesome, we're ready to go, we want to scale this up, we help you with that as well. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this call, these are just starter paths, right? We're always wanting to co-create with you, customize, tailor your training based on your teams, based on your use cases, all that good stuff. So some stuff to keep in mind if you guys are, interested in Gemini Enterprise. But honestly, if you're not even there yet, right, and you're like, okay, I need to talk this through, that's what our team is here for as well, right? So if you're just like, I don't even know, is this a Workspace Studio solution? Is this an agent? Let's have a conversation and talk about it, right? Because some things could just be a gem, right? Or they could be an advanced agent. So, that's what we're here to kind of help with. So, all right. So I'll put this up at the end, but let's go ahead and talk about Q&A here. We probably won't get through every question, but I'm going to go through some of these. Somebody had answered about the compatible connectors. Yes, there is a list of compatible connectors. This list is ever growing. But as of right now, there are some out of the box connectors that Google has listed. We can try to include that in the follow-up, but it is out there if you do look for that. So those are out there. And then the follow-up question, I don't know, Evan, if you want to take this, was if you have a more niche third-party tool, do you create your own connectors using APIs or something similar?
Yeah, that's correct. There is a support for adding custom connectors in the platform in Gemini Enterprise. Additionally, if there's a intermediate step, sometimes that's quicker, such as BigQuery or a Google Cloud Bucket. But definitely there's a process and a support for custom connectors through APIs.
Awesome. Paz, did you want to add something?
Yeah, regarding the list of connectors that we currently have, I also mentioned to all our customers that we will be happy to provide roadmap sessions one-on-one, kind of they can see what also is coming on the product as well.
Okay. Awesome. And then there was a question about Notebook LM Enterprise versus Notebook LM Pro. So as of right now, those are separate tools. So I think that was all the questions. Does anybody else want to add anything on that front?
Notebook LM Enterprise comes with Gemini Enterprise out of the box. So it does include additional support for more documents, quite a few more. So it is an enterprise version and is available inside Gemini Enterprise.
Great. And then we had another question about sensitive data protection. So somebody asked, does this incorporate role-based access? For example, the payroll team can see bank account information, but others can't. Is it across the board? To what extent are these controls granular and customizable?
Yeah, that's the one big feature of Gemini Enterprise, that the ACLs, the access to the data, is indexed with the data. People only see what they're supposed to see. So whether it's a particular Google Drive or folder, they would only see the things they're authorized to see, because the permissions are brought along with the data and indexed.
Awesome. All right. And then we had a question about can agents run without prompting in the background? So basically, can agents auto run, I guess, is the question summation.
William can take
Sure.
it.
Yeah, so when it comes to agents, when it comes to the pre-built, like no-code agents, right, you do have the ability to schedule them. So if you want it in that sense where it's based on a schedule, you can do so. If you're actually talking about a more custom agent, you can have a far more granular trigger for that, if that's something you want to do. But it just depends on the granularity of the agent, the complexity of the agent, and what interface is created in. But yes, long story short.
Okay, great. And then last question I want to tackle, there were just some questions there on, why should I upgrade to Gemini Enterprise, right? I have Gemini for Workspace, I have Workspace Studio, why do I need to upgrade? I think Evan went through some of that stuff on his demonstration. I think a big piece of that is going to be that additional context, right? So you're going to be able to access a lot more information via Gemini Enterprise than you are Gemini for Workspace. William, I'll let you add on to that as well.
Of course. So I was going to say, if you really want just like 3 big points of why Gemini Enterprise as opposed to Gemini 3 or Gemini Pro with Gemini app within the Google Workspace context. So I'll say the 3 big things is the first one, like we're talking about, a wider context. So the ability to not only connect to Google Workspace, but also Google Cloud Platform data storage. So your BigQuery, your cloud storage, all that good stuff, but also third-party data sources. So data sources that is provided by another company that we either have a pre-built connector for, or like I mentioned, you have a custom connector for. So you have the ability to connect to a wider array of data sources, and that's not just Google Workspace. So that's the first item, the wider context, the data sources. Second item is a lot more granularity and customization when it comes to agents. Right? So within Google Workspace, within the Studio, like you mentioned, you are limited in terms of what can be done. There's only a degree of customization, only a degree of reach these agents can perform. When it comes to Gemini Enterprise, obviously there's the no code, but there's also the fully customizable, if you want to do something very, very specific that touches a wider array of data sources, wider array of applications, and provide a more sophisticated output. That's not just text. You have the ability to do so with Gemini Enterprise. And kind of as part of that, into the third point, the connection to the wider Google Cloud Platform. So like Evan mentioned, you have the ability to connect to your model armor or screening prompts. You have the ability to help block certain text from being input into Gemini. Right? So the benefit of Gemini Enterprise is so much customizability. You have the ability to this kind of also touches on the why not Gemini.google.com, because you have a lot of power over this experience. You can create a dedicated app, change the logo, add custom chips. You have the ability to set up your own agent, decide who has access to what agent. Right? So there's a lot of custom power over the Gemini experience for the end users. So I'll say those are the 3 key points.
Yeah, great. And the way that I like to kind of distinguish between the 3 at the moment, Gemini for Workspace is your assistant, Workspace Studio helps with automation, and Gemini Enterprise is agentic, right? And so it's going to go out and actually do that stuff for you. But again, if we're unsure, let's have a conversation and see if what makes sense for your organization. That's what we're here to help. If it's just Gemini for Workspace, we're here to help. If it's up to Gemini Enterprise, we're also here to help as well. So awesome. All right. Well, I think that is all the questions for today. Thank you guys so much for the questions and for the interactions. If you guys do have feedback on today's webinar, please use this QR code and give us feedback. We're really excited to talk to you guys about Gemini Enterprise, but anything else, Google Workspace, Google Cloud, let's chat and have a conversation. And thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone.